What if I told you that the very foundations of America were forged not in victory, but in the heart of a crushing defeat? A battle that, on the surface, was a British triumph, but in reality, struck fear into the heart of one of the world's most powerful empires. A battle where ordinary men stood against the might of the British Empire, armed with little more than courage, desperation, and a handful of bullets. This is the story of the Battle of Bunker Hill. But why did the colonists risk everything for a hill? And how did this battle shift the course of the American Revolution? Join us as we uncover the thrilling events of June 17, 1775. Setting the stage. It's the spring of 1775, and Boston, one of the largest cities in the American colonies, is under siege. The British Army, led by General Thomas Gage, is stationed in the city, resupplied and reinforced by the British Navy in the harbor. The colonial militias, numbering around 15,000 men, have surrounded the city, but they lack the firepower to challenge British control of the waters. The siege of Boston is in full swing. The colonists control all land access to Boston, but the British hold the sea, effectively trapping both sides in a tense standoff. But something's about to change. The colonists, eager to tip the balance, realize that the key to controlling Boston lies in its surrounding hills. If they can't position artillery on the high ground, they can bombard the British forces, forcing them to either flee or surrender. And so, on a quiet June night, the colonial leaders make a bold decision, a decision that would forever change the trajectory of the revolution. The colonists' bold move. On June 16, 1775, under cover of darkness, Colonel William Prescott leads 1,200 colonial troops to fortify Charlestown Peninsula. Their orders are to construct defensive positions on Bunker Hill. But something happens that night, error or perhaps a stroke of fate. The colonists choose to build their fortifications not on Bunker Hill, but on Breed's Hill, which is closer to Boston and more exposed. With shovels in hand, these men, farmers, blacksmiths, and shopkeepers begin digging. By sunrise, a strong redoubt has been built on Breed's Hill, a fortification roughly 130 feet on each side, with 6-foot-high walls of dirt and timber. The colonists knew the British would not take this provocation lightly. As dawn breaks over Boston, British lookouts spot the new defenses and sound the alarm. The British response. When British General Thomas Gage receives news of the colonial fortifications, he is both furious and shocked. How could these rebels have the audacity to challenge the might of the British Empire so directly? Gage, along with Generals William Howe and Henry Clinton, quickly formulate a plan. General Howe believes a frontal assault will quickly crush the colonists and put an end to this insolence. After all, what could a ragtag group of militiamen do against the disciplined forces of the British Army? By 2 p.m., Howe has assembled over 2,200 men to launch the assault. The plan is simple. Howe will lead a direct attack on the redoubt at Breed's Hill, while a secondary force under Brigadier General Robert Piggott will strike the colonists' left flank. With British warships in the harbor providing cannon fire to soften up the defenses, Howe expects nothing less than a quick and decisive victory. But the British are about to learn a hard lesson, a lesson that will be taught not with words, but with blood. The battle begins, the first assault. The first wave of British troops begins its slow, steady march toward Breed's Hill. They are confident, almost too confident, in their belief that this will be a quick rout. But the colonists, under the stern gaze of Colonel Prescott, remain calm. Prescott's command echoes down the line. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes. This is no mere dramatic flourish. The colonists have precious little ammunition. They must make every shot count. As the British advance closer, their red uniforms bright against the green hillside, the order is given. The colonists unleash a ferocious volley of musket fire. The British ranks are torn apart. Shocked by the ferocity of the defense, the British soldiers falter, their advance shattered. The first assault has failed, and the redcoats are forced to retreat. A second, more desperate attempt. But the British are not done. Reinforcements arrive, and a second assault is ordered. This time, they aim to break through the colonists' left flank, hoping to outmaneuver and encircle the defenders. The British soldiers, now marching over the bodies of their fallen comrades, steel themselves for another charge. Once again, the colonists hold their fire until the British are perilously close. Another devastating volley tears through the British lines, dropping dozens of soldiers in a single wave. General Howe watches in disbelief as his men are once again forced to retreat, their ranks decimated. The cost is becoming unbearable, But Howe has one more card to play, a final assault that will either break the colonists or break his army. The final assault, a bayonet charge. The third and final assault is the most desperate of all. Howe orders his men to drop their heavy packs and march in tight columns toward the redoubt. He knows that the colonists are running low on ammunition, and this time the British will rely on the bayonet. Inside the redoubt, the situation is dire. The colonial defenders are nearly out of gunpowder. Many now wield their muskets like clubs, bracing for close combat. As the British soldiers storm the redoubt, hand-to-hand combat erupts. Bayonets clash with sabers, and musket butts crack against skulls. The scene is chaotic, brutal, and bloody. Amid the chaos, colonial leader Dr. Joseph Warren, key figure in the revolution, is killed. His death becomes a symbol of the ultimate sacrifice made by those fighting for liberty. The aftermath, a Pyrrhic victory. By the end of the day, the British hold Breed's Hill, but it is a hollow victory. Of the 2,200 British soldiers who fought, over 1,000 are killed or wounded, including many of their officers. The British losses are staggering, the highest casualties they will suffer in any single engagement during the entire war. General Clinton, reflecting on the battle, writes, "A few more such victories would have shortly put an end to British dominion in America. The colonial forces, though forced to retreat, have lost fewer men. Approximately 450 colonists are killed or wounded, including leaders like Joseph Warren and Major Andrew McClary, but their spirit remains unbroken. The colonists have proven that they can stand against the best-trained army in the world, and the psychological impact of this battle reverberates through both the colonies and Britain." The significance of Bunker Hill. The Battle of Bunker Hill is more than just a military engagement. It's a message that the colonists, despite their lack of training and resources, will not back down. The battle electrifies the colonies, providing a much-needed boost in morale and recruitment. Even as far away as the southern colonies, whispers of rebellion grow louder. For the British, however, the battle signals the harsh reality of the war ahead. The high casualty rate shocks the British command and forces them to rethink their strategies. It becomes clear that defeating the colonists will not be as simple as they had thought. Soon after, the British begin hiring Hessian mercenaries to bolster their ranks. The Battle of Bunker Hill may have ended in a British victory, but in every way that mattered, it was the colonists who won. It was a battle that proved their resilience, their courage, and their willingness to sacrifice everything for the cause of independence. The battle marks the true beginning of the Revolutionary War, a war that would forever change the course of history. So the next time you hear the name Bunker Hill, remember, it wasn't just about a hill. It was about the birth of a nation. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most pivotal battles of the American Revolution, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let us know in the comments which battle we should explore next.